moving from the
confines of the yonder.
From the yonder to the outside.
Yeah, well, once you get out here in the wide world, the certain factors are different.
Yeah.
In other words, things go wrong when you don't want them to. And this morning, things were kind of going wrong when I didn't want them to. Whoa, damn, that's close up.
I was going to introduce myself as Floyd, Barry's less talented and uglier cousin.
You sound to me like you've had a rough.
My wife keeps telling me I sound like Barry White. And I'm like, no, I ain't. I'm Floyd. I'm Floyd White.
I'd have to hear you hum a few bars before I'd believe you were Barry White.
Can't get enough of your love, baby.
Kind of remind me of Froggy. Was it Froggy?
Yeah, it was Froggy.
From the Little Rascals?
Yeah. He's the one that always called him to order at the meetings.
Yeah.
At the He-Man Woman Haters Club.
He-Man women haters. Oh, I know what I was doing.
Spolly.
Bear with me a minute here. I'm gonna send myself an email. We can keep talking. I can't see you right at the moment.
I can't keep talking.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I got it.
What do you got?
No, I'm trying to find a link. I sent myself another link. Oh, no, that's the cousin calculator. I don't need that. Phil had something yesterday. I was going to tell you, we'll have to discuss this sometime, maybe later. I can't read it right at the moment because it's too little, but I have to blow it up. But he gave me a cousin calculator. Have you ever seen the chart for that? Have you ever seen the chart for that? It lets you look on the chart and tell. Huh?
Good morning, Miss Brenda.
Good morning.
The cousin calculator lets you figure out who all your cousins are and how many removed and at what if they're like first, second, thirds, or fourths, or that kind of stuff. And because I've never really been able to figure all that out. Yeah, he's got the Epizooty.
I got the Epizooty.
He warned me of that yesterday. I don't know. Can you hear the hummingbirds?
My ears are so full of. No.
Do they have anything in there? Okay. They're out here buzzing around fairly close, and then they're dicing with each other on positions, and I love it when I don't know if it's the little males or I guess it's the males. When they get up here and they start hovering, they flare that tail out real wide, and they look real big. They got all that illusion going on about fear me, look at me, I'm wicked mean. Look what a war bonnet I'm wearing. And today, Brenda says they've got the zoomies right now. They definitely are running about everywhere. Okay. I'm gonna try to hook my phone up here. If the hummingbirds get real busy, I can flip this over.
Who is Adventures by Dee?
Hmm?
Who is Adventures by Dee?
Oh, he's Dave he's from Atlanta.
Okay.
Is he in?
Yes.
I don't see him in here. Oh, well, there they are. Oh, I have 5 chat I have 5 comments and I didn't even see them. Sorry about that. Hi, Dave. Welcome in, buddy.
Dave's in and nobody else. Brenda.
It is.
But that don't count because I can hear her.
You don't count because I can hear her. I'm still scrambling, Dave. I moved outside today and I wasn't ready, apparently. All the stuff that I thought I had prepared, I'm still wrestling with. And then I realized at some point along that way that I hadn't done this in a little while. Would you go get me a coffee mug? Because I can't do this without coffee. That's against the law. Well, I don't have one out here. That cup. That cup might be. I might have brought that cup. Yeah, here's that cup. I guess I could use this one. I just been a regular, but since that's not working, maybe I need one. My heating pad. I have a hot plate out here.
It's on, honey.
Is it?
Uh-huh.
Well, now Brenda says it's working. A while ago, it wasn't working.
You can't see the light.
Okay.
Goodness. Everybody's going to start over there.
Well, now I've touched everything. Can you still see me?
Yeah. That's a fancy green phone you got there.
Okay. Now, I'm going to see if I can clamp this and allow us in some fashion. Hopefully, I'm not making everybody seasick.
Sounds like the hounds are busy.
Yeah, I don't know what's got them stirred up there. I heard that big Pyrenees, and then she moved, and now all the little dogs are just raising hell.
No, so they ain't hounds.
There's a couple over there. I just don't see them. There's one of them. There's a willow tree over there, and he's behind the willow tree, and I couldn't see him.
Where's the thermos at?
I got it right here, babe. Hang on just a moment. Hear that one?
Hello. That's old Reb. He's got a yodel mouth.
I don't think this is going to work. It's going to be too bright.
What's going to be?
Well, I don't know. There we go. There we go.
Oh, I didn't know what you was talking about.
Oh, shit. Hang on a minute.
No, I'm echoey.
There you got the echo. Well, my phone was causing that echo. Okay. Dave, you're much better at this than I am. Hershey is a sleeping dog sounds here except snoring. Oh, I'm not high tech, Dave. I think I'm low tech here today. You do more of that kind of stuff than I do, I think, and I sometimes I fall down on the job. Maybe you can see occasionally a hummingbird up there. I don't know if I can make that zoom in anymore or not.
It's pretty small, buddy.
Yeah, I know.
There's one right now.
Yeah. Sitting there drinking its fill. Oh. The thermos is hanging right here.
But I can't tell if it's a Magnificent or a Calliope or a Rufus or a
You can't look and see even at that small ruby throated.
Or oh yeah, it's a ruby throated.
Yeah, I thought you'd be yeah, see, that's funny.
And now you're poked bear. Who has only one species?
Yeah, you were just, I know you were making fun. Everybody must be gone.
We had 4 last week.
Oh, 4 different species.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Calliope's, broadtails, rufus, and
smart Alec.
black chins.
Smart Alec. You guys that's why we don't have any. You guys got them all
We
out
got
there.
them all over here. I don't know why they choose to come up here. There ain't
How many species do you think you've had there this summer? Or this
species of hummingbird?
Yeah.
4.
Just 4? Okay.
Yeah.
So you got what? Magnificence?
No, those are southwestern birds. The
Oh,
big,
you were just making
they're
that
like
up.
the big B-52s of like the hummingbird.
Oh, okay.
Magnificence and what's the other one? Blue throat, maybe. They're great big hummingbirds. It doesn't even look like they should be able to do anything.
Yeah, I've seen pictures,
but they
but
sure
not in real
can. We had
life.
Calliopes, which are the ones with the little red whiskers like under their chin.
Yeah.
They're cool. And we've had black chins. No, black throateds.
Oh, cool.
And rufus, and that's our most common probably. And broadtails.
Do you ever get Did you say Calliopes?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's our probably second most common one.
There was 3. Did you hear them? Chip.
Yep.
Because they were sitting there duking. We were sitting in the car the other day. There's 2
one right there. We got a lot of hummers there though right now. There's one.
Yeah, there's 3. There went 3 right there. That's what I was gonna say. We were in the car the other day, and we just pulled in the driveway, and it was like all of a sudden they started showing up, and there were 6 or so or 8 out here on the porch just running all over the place. So we've got quite a few right now. Probably
so our rufus hummingbirds. I think it's a rufus. Might be the broadtail. They ring when they leave. Ring.
Oh, I've heard.
Like an old timey phone. Ring.
I've heard of that. I've got 2 or 3 landing here right now, but they're landing just out of camera shot. I can't aim it at all because I've got a.
He seems to just have one that has that when he spreads his tail.
Well, that may be the only male right now. We've got a hook over there hanging, and they're lighting upon it. And then we've got a second feeder over here. They're using it too.
We must have killed everybody off last week with the saddle top.
I think so.
How often do you have to fill up the feed? Oh, every day, pretty much. I mean, just about every day. These.
Yeah,
we don't fill them all the way up though. We fill these hummingbird feeders. We put about yay much in them, and they might last a day and a half. It just depends. I'm amazed at how much they can consume.
Hey, there's Teddy, right over your shoulder. Teddy, he's standing right there.
Hey, buddy, Teddy.
He was hollering to get out.
He was looking. I didn't even see him back there.
Oh, he was back there hollering.
He walked away, so maybe he's mad.
now he's ticked off, and he won't talk to you the rest of the day.
No, he may not. You're right about that.
You weren't instantly at his kind of like a grandchild sometimes.
Kind of like a grandchild. I
have made a demand of you. I need it immediately.
Immediately, yeah, that's very true. Hey, John, welcome in.
Hey, buddy.
John says a quick hello. heading to the funeral home. Well, buddy, we're with you today. I hope you can feel the presence. I hope everything goes well and you'll make it through it.
Semper Fortis, bud. That's a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah, sugar water doesn't last. You mean when you fix it, it lasts that long?
Well, the sun.
Oh yeah, in the sun when these feeders are in, they get some direct sunlight every day, not all day, but it's enough to heat the water up. So we don't like to leave it in there too long. Hey,
Tina's
there's
on
Tina
the
McNeil.
floor.
There's Tina McNeil from live from the St. Lawrence River
Neat.
on that island.
Catch me one of them seagoing lamprey things. That's how they got into the Great Lakes. So
I know.
actually catch and kill like 700 of them today.
That'd be good. That'd be good. That'd
be
be a start.
That'd be a good hit.
They well, what an ugly, not insidious, because that's a human trait, but wow, did they come in and damage the fisheries in a hurry?
All the lake trout in the lakes and some walleye issues.
I wonder where that stands today. I haven't looked that up.
I think they're working on them pretty darn hard.
I think, yeah.
They got weirs set up along the river that are traps, and they go in there like regularly, and they literally, for lack of a better term, they castrate the males. They sterilize the males.
Yeah.
But they still think they're males, and the females still think they're males.
So they don't actually get bred.
So they breed with the females and don't produce anything.
No, that's good.
They don't fertilize the eggs, so
that helps a ton then.
And then they've been killing them hard, which is cool.
Hang on a minute. Tina asked what you're talking about. He's talking about what's known as a CSEA lamprey, LMPREY, I believe, right?
Lamprey, yeah.
And they're like kind of like an eel.
Only they got a big old sucker.
They got the god awfulest looking sucker mouth. I'll tell you what you may, if you've ever seen the James Bond movie about the newspaper guy, The World Is Not Enough. In that movie, the bad guys have a torpedo-like thing that they can remotely control, and it will go out to a ship, and it's got this gigantic cutting wheels that go this way, and it's like a circle of cutting wheels that spin in a kind of like a drill bit on an oil rig. And I'm saying all these things that nobody knows what I'm talking about probably. But anyway, that's kind of what the sea lamprey's mouth looks like. And
it looks like a suction cup with teeth in it.
With lots of teeth. I mean, what creature
like little shark's teeth. And John's right. Blood-sucking lampreys.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. They attach to a fish and they
suck their insides.
Suck their blood until they die, basically.
Yeah.
They don't always kill the fish, but they oftentimes do.
Well, I think they probably killed. I was thinking they killed a lot when they first moved into the Great Lakes because it was a whole different environment, and the fish weren't used to it. The lampreys probably, I'm sure they adapted quicker than the fish did. But
and yes, Tina, actually, I'm doing my less handsome, less talented Floyd White, Barry's cousin. Imitation. My wife keeps telling me you sound like Barry White, and I was like, I'm okay with that. I just wish my head felt less full.
Congested.
Yeah.
Do you thank everybody for passing this along?
Oh, yeah.
Tina
But I
says,
mean, you know, what can you do?
"Oh, what movie? That was the movie. Oh, um,
That
Willis was in that.
that was in wasn't Bruce Willis in that movie?
Yeah, and a couple, two or three other older big name. Yeah, wasn't that like the last cowboy? No, Space Cowboy. What did they call that? Somebody will remember. But that's that's the kind of mouth they got.
I never saw it. So
That's the kind of mouth they. Well, the whole point was there was a comet coming towards the Earth, and they went up and
blew the comet up.
Yeah, it was
They
like
went up.
basically a suicide mission. They got all these old space guys, cowboys, whatever that you want to call them. And, whoa, that
That,
came right by my head.
that was a whole nother movie. Space Cowboys
Okay, but
had Clint Eastwood and Tommy Lee Jones and
okay. Well, I was thinking of that one. That's the one I was thinking about.
what's Donald Sutherland and
You have a great day, John. Thanks for stopping by, and like I said, just
thinking of you,
we're
buddy.
there. We're with you, buddy. Yeah, okay, this was all about old. These all had oil drillers, but anyway, they were going to have to blow up the
Armageddon. That's the movie.
Armageddon.
See,
Yes, Bruce
John
Willis.
like told us the skinny.
Thanks, John. You can now leave. No.
You have permission to leave the ship, sir.
Oh, I know what I didn't do. Let me see if I can.
I don't know what you did.
I have a show. If I can find it. If I can't find it, we'll do it another time. But I sent it out here on another technical thing.
Oh, you play there right now how much work I got done yesterday.
Oh yeah, Brenda had help yesterday. She had a friend come down. They were going to tackle.
Tell me how it was.
I will just let me tell my own story here. Don't be stepping on my tail. So Brenda told me one day last week. My buddy Diane from high school and middle school. Her and Brenda got hooked up and were buddies for years, and got back together in the last few years. And they were. So she told me, said Diana, that's her name's really Diana, but we always called her Diane. I still struggle with changing. I'm not good with change anyway. And she said she's coming down, and we're going to get a lot done. We're going to tackle my sewing room and move all the cloth and fabric that I have downstairs and organize it. And, we're just going to get so much done. So then later in the week, or another day or two after that, I called Philip. I said, "Hey, Phil, let's do something we hadn't done in ages." I said, "Let's go shoot. Let's go to the range and limber up something, burn a little cordite or a little gunpowder." And, so I told Brenda, I said, "You want to go? Would you like to go shoot with us?" And she said, "Well, I'm going to have company. And we're going to get all this done." And I said, "Okay." So yesterday afternoon or morning, Phil comes up and we head off to the range. And just about the time the range doesn't open till 1, so we couldn't leave real early. And it's down at Greenville. So it's about 45 minutes maybe from here. So Diane shows up while we're getting ready to go. I had this sneaking suspicion that this wasn't going to go exactly the way she said. So we got home yesterday afternoon about
As soon as
4
you left,
o'clock.
the margarita mix came out.
Well, I don't think that happened, but they did. They sat on the couch and talked all day, and suddenly that was too late to get anything done. Imagine that.
It's funny you were talking about shooting because my male border collie is like wrapped around my legs right now.
Oh, really?
And he only does that when they're shooting up across the road from us here.
Were they hunting birds right now?
No, they're just shooting up. There's a spoil pile up there on top of badland, and that locals use it for a shooting range, and it don't have no opening and closing time.
Here comes something. What we got?
Here comes something wild.
Big motorcycle. Here it's pretty quiet. All I could see was headlights coming at me, and I thought it was a spider. But it was a big BMW, and he was headed tooling on up the road. So anyway, Phil and I went down yesterday, and I don't know, burned. Really didn't shoot as much as I thought we would. We shot, well, a couple hundred rounds probably each, maybe. And because I had 2 new pistols I had never fired.
Look at all them buzzing devils.
Actually, 3, maybe 3. There's one. Can you see that when he landed right there?
I see him.
Now that one's got a white
Now
tip.
it's like landed on your feeder.
Yeah, there went 2. That one's got the white tip tail feathers. If it spreads its tail, you can see the white, which I think's a male.
What does it have? A ruby throat?
Yeah, they're all ruby throat. Well, I can't
it's
see
pretty easy to tell the males. They have a bright, screaming red ruby throat.
Yeah, but this time of year they're not.
Females don't have that at all.
I know that, but this time of year I can't really. Some of them I can't see that well.
Maybe they're in fall plumage already.
Their throat tends to be dark, but if they're turned wrong, or like this, I'm looking at the sky, I can't tell. But that definitely was a female because she landed right here in front of me.
Excuse me.
So she's got the white tail tips on her, but maybe she's the one with the white. Maybe the male. I don't, because I didn't remember the males having that. But
they got those dark green tail feathers.
Here comes that guy's buddy, and he's way behind. And that guy, he told that guy, if you lose me, wait up there somewhere so I can catch up. That's how we used to do it anyway.
You played it safe going through the curve.
When one guy, maybe didn't ride as fast as the next guy, the rule is, if you're in a group anyway, you're the last guy in the group is supposed to stop it. If you turn, he's supposed to stop at the turn and wait till the next guy, the trailing riders catch up so they know where to turn. They don't always do that, but the guy don't always wait, but they're supposed to. Oh, me. Anyway, we went over and had a pretty good time. They've got a really surprisingly nice range over there. And I guess the county runs it. And I think it helps that the local law enforcement and the highway patrol, and I'm sure all the other ones around this area, the sheriff's departments use it. I think that's where they go for training, because they have a separate little area up there with a building. So I'm betting that they've probably helped put some money into this or that. And they've got a really nice clubhouse building where you sign in. And then they've got skeet range and a trap range. They've got 300 yards long distance rifle range on metal. They've got sporting clays.
Got range officers.
Well, not yesterday. You're kind of policing yourself. Of course, they make you sign your life away. I used to be that when we were in Nashville. I had all my certifications for range officer and training officer, or training, not officer, but that kind of stuff. But that's all lapsed, I'm sure. I mean, not that I've forgotten it, but it probably ain't legal. If there is, anyway, I'm sure when they have a real busy weekend or something, or they're having some kind of competitions there, that they have range officers. But yesterday we were on our own. But the short range, the pistol range was nice because they had pull targets, so we didn't have to, make the line safe, and then make the line hot and all that like you do when you're having to walk out to replace targets. That was handy because you could just pull them in, put a new one up, or tape over the holes and run it out there. I shot my 40, and I never shot a 40. I think I like it. I think I like it a lot. It shoots pretty good too.
You're shooting a 40 now.
Yeah, well, I've got one, and I wanted to. I've always, ever since they came out, I've wanted to try one.
I had one for several years and I sold it. It wasn't because of the caliber. It was the firearm. It just didn't fit me.
What was it? Do you remember?
It was a Ruger. P94 or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was the earlier one.
It was a great big old, and I got big hands, but
yeah, I know. I've got a P80.
It didn't fit me very well.
I've got a Ruger P85, which was when they kind of entered the bigger bore handgun market, automatics, semi-automatics, and it's the first one they came out with. They had that little 22 forever. That was that was their very first pistol, and then they came out with. They started going into 9mm and that, and I've got the very first one they made, which was a P85, and it's big. It's big and heavy. I still have it. I probably ought to trade that.
Yeah, mine was big and heavy, and every time I shot it, the slide took the top of my knuckle off, like on my thumb.
Yeah, that's not any fun.
I have a broken right thumb that didn't heal right. And it had hit that, and I'd nearly soiled myself over
it. I nearly soiled myself. Well, Tina's here. You said just me and you and Mark.
Well, Tina's busy. She's on vacation.
Oh, well, she
Dave
is.
Dave was here. Did he leave?
Dave Dave. Well, I don't know. He may have. I didn't ask him. They may have been going somewhere else today. They, of course, John had to go. I don't know I can't remember if Carol said she was going to be gone this weekend or not. I'm guessing she either is.
We haven't seen her for a while.
Do what?
Dave could have fell asleep with the dog.
Well, he could have. He said he had a snoring dog with him. Maybe Dave curled up with the dog.
Mike and Diane aren't here.
That's news not here.
There's no Ian. Of course, we know Mike's on. Ian won't be.
That's right. Yeah, but you'd think Ian might be here today since Mike's not here.
That's true.
I haven't talked to them this week. I don't know. They may be on vacation too. Can you read that thermometer? I think it says it's 69 out here. It's supposed to not get above 74 here today.
Seriously.
Your phone says what?
It's probably going to be hotter here.
Yeah, it may be. It's going to warm up a little. I think we're done. I'm not going to say that. Never mind. scratch that comment.
It's gonna get hot again, dude.
It's only supposed to get to the 80s next week. Now that's still hot for me. I don't like
That's
it, but
too
it's
hot.
better than the 90s, mid
Yeah.
90s. Well, hopefully it won't go back that high, but it might. Hell, who knows anymore? Tina says she's listening but can't chat much. Well, that's okay. How's Chuck, Tina? He doing okay on vacation? I don't get to go on vacation anymore.
How come people are on vacation in September?
Because I'm on vacation all the time.
Bow season.
I'm gonna start doing that too. I'm gonna start shooting my bow again. Try to. So what I found out yesterday,
I've got like 5 buddies that are sitting on bear baits right now.
today.
They've been doing it since the first.
So what start? 1st of September does everything? What opens up out there on 1st of September?
So all the big game animals are open for archery.
Okay.
Pronghorn, and actually, pronghorn opens August 15th for archery. But pronghorn, elk, and deer are all open on the 1st. And then mountain grouse, rough grouse, and blue grouse are open on September 1st. And fall bear opens September 1st. So, one of my buddies has been getting pretty aggravated at elk hunters blowing really crappy elk bugles.
Yeah.
And scaring his bears off. But anyway.
I remember when the people started really talking about how there was, I guess there was such an influx of amateur elk hunters, for lack of a better word, because I may be one too. I hadn't tried to blow an elk whistle in a long time. But that was starting to cause the elk not to come into the calls, or it changed their habits.
It did, and it'll move them clear off of public land down on private land
because they know they can't get shot on private land.
Like, you can't get me down here. The rancher's kid will, but there's only one of him,
Does everything with a bow? Let's talk residents for a moment, which means if you're listening, that people that live in the state, do you have to draw a tag for bear or buy a tag for bear?
You got to buy one.
So with the bow, you buy the tag for the animal.
Or you buy a bear license, and you can hunt with a bow. And then when the rifle season opens, you can hunt with a rifle.
Ah, okay.
Although I don't even know if we have. I don't even think there is a separate archery bear, except in a few hunt areas in eastern Wyoming. It's bear season opens, and you can go out there with whatever you want to.
Are you laughing about something, or are you just?
Somebody's got a golf cart for sale, and it looks like.
Tina said Chuck's in his perfect vacation.
Yeah, he's taking a nap. I get that. I might do that today. What I found out yesterday was 2 hours standing on the firing line is about all I can take right now. I am in terrible shape. I have got to start doing something. Riding a bike. I got to get a fixed bicycle or I've got an elliptical machine. I got to get it where I can use it. It's not set up right now. So problem I have with any of that stuff is there's only 3 or 4 of us in here. My damn knees don't hold up well. Both my knees are just junk.
Everything hurts worse.
Oh hell yeah! But my knees have always bothered me some, but they're just really rotten now. I could use some surgical help on both my knees. So they hurt a lot, and that doesn't help any. But I need to do something else because my holding the gun and holding position to try to shoot around, of a magazine right in the middle, somewhere in the middle of my shoulder blades was hurting a little bit from that. Trying to lock in, and hold that position. And I got to where I was leaning up against the sidewall because that's what I was saying about the pistol range. It's got boosts. So, it's kind of catching your brass from flipping around everywhere. And I started leaning on the wall, and that and improved my shooting. Hey, buddy. Wish I could see if your throat's red or not. I never could see that one well. Anyway, so that's what we did yesterday, and it was fun. I hadn't done that in a long time. I'd like to get some kind of a long range something and go out there and shoot some steel. Either a rifle that I could bring maybe out your way hunting sometime, or even my Thompson Center. I could take it out and shoot it some long range. Oh, there she was, Brenda. Did you see her all flared out, that tail? I'm pretty sure that was a she.
Okay. Oh, no, not white tipped.
Oh, yeah, the tail was up big white tips. I mean, it was.
Oh, okay. I thought that was the male.
Well, me too, but I've changed my mind. Maybe they both have it because there was a female definitely right here a minute ago, and she had white tip tail feathers.
And I got two bird books within 5 feet of me.
I don't have mine with.
And one of them is Western birds.
Is Sibley's the other one?
Not a Sibley's. I don't own Sibley's.
Oh, you don't have a Sibley's?
Or the Nat Geo. I've got Peterson's Western birds, and I've got the birds of South Africa sitting right here.
That won't help.
That ain't gonna help you at all. It's not a sunbird.
Is that
which are the coolest, most colorful birds I've ever seen.
Cool.
They're like a big hummingbird, and they serve kind of the same function.
What were they?
Really hooked bills.
And
they're just cool as hell.
And what is that?
Sunbirds.
A sunbird. Oh, okay. You said that, but I thought you.
And there's several species of them, and we saw several of them. They're just cool.
Excellent. Is that bird? That South Africa bird book's probably only about yay thick, isn't it? I'm kidding, of course. Turn that off. You need to turn your volume down.
It's this thick.
Oh my! Well, that's about what I figured. I was kidding about how thick it was, but because I knew if I said something, you might show it to me.
And I have pages marked in this book with guinea fowl feathers and porcupine quills.
Oh man, that's
African
cool.
Porcupines.
Yeah, African porcupine quill.
Yeah.
Can you clip the barb off those and use them that way, or do you still got the barbs on them?
No, they're still pointy. But they're big. I mean, they're.
Oh, I know. I've seen them. I may have even seen one live somewhere.
I can't even imagine like a lion or something catching one of them and surviving.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be a long, painful death.
I think so.
But I mean, some of their quills are like this long and big as a pencil.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how. Excuse me. Well, it might be like a fisher. I mean, maybe there's a critter over there that flips them over and eats them from the belly.
Well, I think lions do that, but
No,
and leopards, but you got to be
you got to be good.
more careful.
Yeah, they'd.
And I apologize, folks.
Well, I'm just about as bad too.
My
Damn.
voice is going quick.
Well, I'm gonna try something here. I might have to turn the birds off for a little bit. So I'm gonna take that. I just want to see if
We
I can.
can't see them that good anyway, buddy.
Right, I knew that. I'm gonna see if this works at all. And that we may not do the show, but I want to.
Excuse me.
I want to at least see if I can maybe put it up there. Oh, not gonna be able to do that. No, I'm not gonna be able to do it. Maybe if I use my phone, I can. I can't show it and see you guys at all, and I can't turn it on because it covers up the screen. Ah, dang it!
What are you looking at? What are you looking at?
Well, I did a little I did a little show, but and I put together. I thought this week I would do something because I was going to be on the porch. I knew we'd probably be talking about birds and stuff. But I had started something, and I picked two historic legends from the past, if you will. And in this case, I picked Quanah Parker and David Crockett to talk about. There's Teddy again. No, that's Chloe. Kind of like myths and truths, kind of thing, and more of that with Crockett because Quanah was just.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I don't know any myths about Quanah.
No. I mean, his mostly were.
He was a genuine badass. That
he was, but he turned
and then he was like, okay, this is the way we live now, and he adopted all that, and they put him up in a 5-star house.
Yeah,
they put him in a 5-star hotel in Washington. He was there with. I'm trying to think who was there with him. Geronimo was there. He was there, and another, a Lakota probably. I don't know. I don't remember if it was Sitting Bull or if it was somebody else. But they participated in a parade for. Well, it couldn't have been Sitting Bull. They participated in a parade for Teddy Roosevelt.
Right.
And during his first election, they put him up in a 5-star hotel. And when Quanah went home, he was like, well, we need us one of them out here. And so he built this ginormous house in Oklahoma and painted 5 stars on it. It was like a blue roof with 5 white stars on it.
I had pictures of it.
Maybe a red, white, and blue roof with 5 stars on it. And it has since moved locations. They took it down and moved it to a new location, which is on private land. And apparently it's in some state of disrepair.
Yeah, I read a little bit about that.
Atrocious.
Well,
I was going to go see it just a couple years ago, and my buddy from Southwest Oklahoma was like, "You don't want to go see that. Like, it'll be difficult to get in. Number one, and they're just letting it fall apart." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but it should be a dang national monument." And it's not.
Well, no, it is now.
Oh, it is?
Well, not a month, maybe not. It's an yes, they have made it a national landmark. So, and that's probably the maybe what's going to save it because you're absolutely correct. It's not. It has fallen into great disrepair, and
And it was a giant
but there is
house.
an effort. Yes, it was had
Giant,
10-foot
like
ceilings, and
two-story house.
yeah, I
Well,
got a
good.
picture of it
Well,
right here. If
that
I can
gives
make
me
it, if
faith
I
in
can show it,
humanity.
I'm not. Let me see if it's going to let me do that. I might be able to.
It ain't gonna let you do that.
Hang on just a minute. Well, maybe it will.
Yeah, and what did Lloyd? Oh, there it is. There it is.
There it
Quanah,
is.
Quanah's
And you can
house.
see the roof is now rusty.
But it was
Yeah,
red.
one of the things I read about it, I
I
read two
think
or
it
three.
was blue on the backside.
Okay, yeah, I think it is too because I remember seeing it from a different angle. They like you said, when Quanah came back, he said he had been living in a teepee on the res, which was part
Yeah.
of Fort Sill, I believe now. And he said,
Yeah,
I
there's
you
an
know
old
yeah,
Comanche reservation.
yeah, and he said I'm leaving. Well, they called it the reservation. No, they said he's
Yeah.
living in a teepee like a reservation, but it was on Fort Sill, I think. And
Yep.
because that's where he was buried. That's where he is
And
buried.
Geronimo was there too.
And he said, we don't need. I need to be sleeping in a. I need to be doing better." In his way he put it, or way this article said I need to get out of this teepee. And he turned into a businessman. He was like head of the Cattlemen's
He
Association,
was a big cattleman.
and and that amazes me because in that time period, an Indian, of course, he was half, but still, that all the white cattle owners made him president amazes me at that
Right.
time because at that time, like, Comanches still were
Feared.
there. Well, yeah, the history, even once they were on or had been brought in and had treaty, whatever you want to call it, once they'd surrendered and stopped those ways, they were still. I mean, that memory wasn't. That hadn't been that long ago. Let's put it
Right.
that way. It was still fresh in people's memories, and he just became this whole different. I mean, he really adapted to what was happening and tried to do, I guess, good with it. I mean, he did. I need to read more. I'm in the middle of one book about him now, and I'm reading
He did
about.
pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're living in a white society, he did pretty good for himself and
well,
was very well respected by
yeah.
everybody around him.
Let's see what. I think there's more pictures here. Let me see what we can show.
And you go to North Texas or the whole western half of Oklahoma, everything's named after him. There's, he was very well
Yeah,
respected. And look at that place.
I've got a picture, and I have a picture, and I won't be able to show. I don't think where of a hotel. No, 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 a big truck stop somewhere out there that's named Quanah Barker. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought, well, that's different.
But I mean, if you go to Texas, right there just south of the Red River, and you go east of Childress, the next kind of major town you hit is Quanah.
I could hang on a minute. Got noisy there for a minute. That's the difference between.
You got Harley Davidsons going by.
Yeah, that's the difference between having Harleys drive by and BMWs. You guys didn't even hear the BMWs go by, but the Harleys, I couldn't hear anything. And Brenda said nobody waved at her. Harley guys don't wave. And they didn't even
You
wave
got
at
to
us.
point. You just got to point down at the ground
Yeah, well, yeah, there is that. But
as you pass them. If you're horseback
well,
or if you're horseback or motorcycle back, they'll wave at you every time.
well, Harley guys don't always wave at other people. I've been doing it for years. It's a thing. A lot of them do now, but they didn't used to.
If you're riding an Indian or you're riding a American bike, they always point.
Well, and we do that too. My buddy Dave Harrell used to kid me about that because he followed me like home from work a couple of times when I was on my bike. And I'd pass somebody on a bike and we'd wave, and that's kind of how we wave, like you're saying. And we did it too. I mean, not everybody, but motorcycles, the wave pretty much didn't change, no matter what you rode. And that's what Dave used to call it. He'd kid me about it. He said, "I saw you do the wave." He said, "That's a secret symbol, isn't it?" He said, "You guys got something going on. What is it?"
And so when I'm riding my horse along the highway and they go by, they're all like, it doesn't matter if they're Harley guys or who. They're I guess a dude on like a motor scooter or something doesn't do it. But
well, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, there is a connection there. I mean, they call motorcycle seats saddles for a reason.
yeah.
I guess they do bicycle seats too, but let's see. I wanted to see what other pictures I might have had. And I don't know when these pictures were taken. The house in there, they still had furniture in it.
Look here, I'm sitting in his chair right now.
Well, you sure are.
Look at that.
Look at that.
That's my grandpa's chair. It's all made out of hickory.
Well, yeah, that's his probably wasn't made out of hickory.
That could have been, or pecan, or.
Wait a minute. No, that's kitchen. Okay, I thought I read something. I mean, I don't know if this stuff is. Hopefully, this stuff is somewhere being preserved if the house is falling.
There's
down.
Hudson Bay blankets right there on that bed.
Yeah, he had something else that I noticed. Yeah, there's a candy stripe.
Yep.
Or whatever it's really called. That's what I called it. He had another one. I saw another picture where he had the ones just with the big red stripes, at the ends.
Yeah.
I mean, this place was pretty fancy.
Yeah, it was way fancy.
I have no idea who that guy is. And there's a whole bunch of the stars on the roof. And
was five.
Star House, home of Quanah Parker, last chief of the Comanches. And I've seen so many different dates when he was born. They don't know exactly. I saw some that said 1848, and I saw a couple that said 1851. This one says 1850, but he did die in 1911. I do know that. And see, it says it's now a registered National Historic Site. Whether that'll mean anything down the road, it's hard to tell. I mean, that should make it easier for them to get some kind of funding to save it, but you don't know. I don't know.
They don't
some
look
get saved and some
don't look like they're getting after it to me.
No, and you're right though about one thing. It's not. It doesn't say national monument, so I'll have to go back and check that. But I was thinking that they had gotten the status updated, but higher. But I'm not sure.
He was living high on the hog, man.
Yeah, he was.
He wasn't. Well, he wasn't a free man.
I mean, look at that. There's a sewing machine. True. There's I can't read all that trading post, but I don't know if it says Quanah Parker on it or not. It might, or it may have. Let me see if I can move this over and read this. Read the. Yeah, I went to open it up a little bit. Hang on. Sign for Eagle Park, a closed amusement park, and the trading post run by Will Gibson, who owns and gives tours of the Quanah Park. He either does or did own the. Said he owns the Quanah Parker Star House in Cache, Oklahoma, and he gives tours, or did. This was done in not. This was in this was in 2016. So I don't know if anything like that is still going on, but it did. Apparently, it did for a little while. That's kind of cool. I mean, not cool. I mean, that's not what I'd call cool. It's cool that they were doing the house, is what I was trying to say. And why all of a sudden do I have multiple windows open?
No. No say.
I don't know either. I might have to remove this to get this fixed. But anyway, I found that I got to do a lot more research. And that's just a different sign. I've got it on the other slides. I had a show of his sign. The Quanah Parker truck stop, which definitely had his name on it. And I don't know whether that still exists or not. You've been in that part of the world, if you've ever seen it. But now, stop screen. Yeah, there we go. Now I'm back. But he's pretty fascinating. I mean, I was really you got to when you how to say this. When you read about somebody like Quanah Parker and the Comanches, and you realize, and I did not realize this, how big they were, in the sense that, in a white man's way of looking at it, their land was bigger than all the other ones. I mean, they had more area that they claimed, not the right word, but that was
They
kind of
controlled it though.
Huh?
They darn sure controlled it.
Yeah, they controlled it. That's the word.
White people, Mexicans, Lipan Apaches, whoever.
And they were not.
They were the boss.
Yes, and they were not friendly.
That's why the Texas Rangers were formed, solely because of the Comanche.
Yeah.
That's the only reason the Texas Rangers ever got formed.
And I didn't know this either. I mean, I've heard about this for years, and I've read a little bit about it, but I didn't know Quanah was there. At the Adobe Wells shootout, whatever you want to call it, it sort of cemented maybe I'm wrong about this, but I was going to say sort of cemented the legend of the Texas Rangers, because they survived. They didn't really win anything, but they didn't get killed and run off. Quanah was there. I didn't realize he was in on that raid. I call it.
Well, that was the second battle of Adobe Walls.
Was it? Adobe Walls. I said Wells. Adobe Walls. Excuse me. And
Billy Dixon, a buffalo hunter, shot a man off of a horse measured over a mile away.
Yeah.
With an open sight rifle. And I'm sure it was pure 100% luck.
Yeah, mostly.
But when that happened, the fellows on horseback, wearing feathers and whatnot, left.
Yeah. Yeah, they said that had a lot to do with that shot and the fact that there were buffalo hunters in Adobe Walls or behind the walls or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
That route shooting long range like that made that probably turn the tide. What is that? In that yard right there. See it going in? Oh, maybe it's a cat. It looked like a fox for a minute, a red fox. Well, it went across that road sneaking. I mean, by that house down there. I mean, didn't really walk like a cat. It looked more like a canid, and it was, Anyway, so I'm still not sure. But anyway, yeah, Quanah was a pretty interesting character in the Wild Wild West. He was, as my buddy Steve Cocktermont said, he was wilder than Ninja Turtle and probably not afraid of anything. But once he did surrender, I think he kind of dominated what he was into. I mean, in some ways, he was still being a Comanche. I mean, he was exerting his prowess or proving that he could best the white man at his own game in a way. Maybe that had nothing to do with it, but I
I
think he
don't think
decided.
he looked at it like that. The stuff I read about the man
Did or didn't?
did not.
Oh, okay.
I think he accepted that he
Yeah.
was now
Yeah.
living in a different world.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, and he excelled at it.
But he did, and he excelled at it, but he didn't hold ill will about it either.
Oh, okay. Got you. Well, I wonder how much that had to do with his mother. I'm not sure how long she lived.
Well, she did very poorly when she got back.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, she ended up starving herself to death.
Did she? Okay.
Yeah,
I hadn't read all her history.
His daddy was Pettinacona.
Yeah.
And her husband, and she had been captured as a small child.
She was 8 years old.
And raised by the Comanche, and probably treated pretty poorly until he married her. And then she's like an insta chief, because he was a leader.
Right.
And had a pretty darn good life. And she had Quanah, and then they had a little girl. And when they did that raid in Paladuro Canyon, when the cavalry did that raid, they took her and her little daughter home, and her daughter died almost immediately. And she just pined after the daughter and the husband and the son the rest of her life, and ended up just kind of starving herself. Like, I ain't eating no more.
Yeah.
Went on basically a complete hunger strike, and because she totally identified as a Comanche, not as a white person.
Well, I think
and they
she
took her back to her family, and
yeah,
it didn't take.
Yeah, she what I've read, I don't know how much of this is actual interviews or talk to her, but from what I read, she figured out that because she was basically going to be a slave and not treated well at all, as you said, but she decided she was either going to have to get tough or she wasn't going to make it.
Right.
That's kind of how they put it. And she got tough. She got smart. She got tough. And when some of the other Comanche kids, older, bigger, picked on her, she decided she'd either get beat or she'd beat the crap out of them or they'd beat the crap out of her, but she wasn't going to back down. Yeah. And that won her a lot of respect, too, because then they decided, well, instead of making you a slave, we're going to adopt you, kind of thing. And she became, now that may not be exactly, but, and then she became totally committed to being a Comanche. And I think she was living with the Comanche for about 20-something years, I believe.
Yeah, long time. And
okay, Tina, thanks a bunch.
Those were her people.
Are you guys still there? Are you on the road? If you even hear me, they may be on their way home today. I don't know. Yeah, she and according to what I read last night, she and the daughter are supposedly now buried with Quanah, and they're on Fort Sill. There's a big monument built, like an obelisk.
I hope so.
there is, and it's impressive. I mean, it's
No, I
big.
mean, I know there's a monument, but I hope they brought her up there.
Yeah, well, it says they did. It says they brought both of the daughter and the mother and Quanah are all buried there now in the same. They moved Quanah from. He was already there. He died at Fort Sill or that area, and he was already buried there close. But they reinterred him and his mother and the sister on one spot. Now, what I don't know about is whatever happened to his other brother.
I don't
Yeah,
know that
he had a brother.
I've never heard that he had a brother.
Well, everything I read said it was Quanah, then a second son, and then the daughter was born. But I don't remember. Maybe the second son actually died from something else. He may have died from disease.
Or battle.
Or, well, I don't know if he lived that long.
No.
I don't know if he lived long. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure he lived long enough to. He could have. I mean, he might have started young, but he did. I don't think he's. That's probably why he didn't get talked about. But Quanah, by God, did, and he's an impressive man. He did.
I think I would have liked him a lot.
Yeah, probably. You wouldn't want to have run into him in a dark alley in his younger days.
No, I mean that'd have been a whole different deal, but I would kind of like that too. But
yeah, well, yeah.
He, when Watsy's Bucket wrote Dances of Wolves, the original story, the book,
Yeah,
if you read it, is about Comanches, not Lakotas.
Huh.
He ends up going to the frontier in Comanche country.
Well, which covered a lot of country.
But you got to read the book, you don't get that from the movie at all. They just moved her north because it's more pleasant or whatever. I don't know why.
Well, in the movie, where was he supposed to be? Nebraska? Or that
Well,
place?
he went to northwest Nebraska and then ended up in
the
Wyoming,
Dakota.
Wyoming and Dakotas.
Yeah, the edge of that country. Okay.
Yeah. But in the book, they're Comanches. And I always thought that Stands with a Fist, the woman, was based off of,
his wife. His mother.
Cynthia Ann Parker.
Yeah.
And because she goes through kind of the same thing.
That makes sense.
But
and now you're saying that, I think I was thinking that too when I read it, that was kind of like what that character. I think I thought about that. I'll have to read that. I'll have to get a book.
I haven't read the book in years, but
I am reading the book right now. I am listening to a book, I should say, I guess. That is about him and the Comanches, and I don't know who wrote this particular book.
Summer of the Empire Moon.
Yes, that's it.
It's about this thick.
Yeah, well, it's pretty long, even on the.
And it talks, they were running. They weren't just like badass buffalo chasing warrior, savants. They were running the economy of the entire, everything from like central Mexico all the way up to Nebraska.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And they were an offshoot of the Shoshone people.
I didn't know that.
That live here in Wyoming. They split off from them and they went south. And they ended up with horses first.
Yeah.
Or second. The Pueblo people took the horses, and then the Comanches ended up with them. And that was all she wrote.
Yeah, I've never read anything that didn't say that they were like the world's best cavalry.
The very greatest light cavalry the world has ever seen.
And that was said by some what I would have to say were very knowledgeable people in that time period that were involved, either involved with the military or in the military, or they
When you
knew
can
a
hang
whole
off the side of your horse at a full gallop and shoot underneath its neck
That's pretty good.
as a shield, you're pretty handy.
Yeah, they were.
Fearless.
In fact, I think
Fearless horse soldiers.
I was thinking it said something in that book, the Summer Moon book, or whatever the whole title. I can't remember, but I was thinking they said something about they were like might have been I don't know, maybe it just said cavalry. I was thinking it said as a group they were probably the best soldiers overall, total that maybe the world had ever seen, or something like that. But I may have read that wrong. But they were certainly great on the back of a horse.
It would have been fun to throw them in with Genghis's boys.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Like, okay, now and put them in a jar and shake it up. Like, okay, go at it.
Put them in a jar. That's like when we were kids. We did bugs. Put them in a jar.
You've seen the aliens and the humans and the bear in a jar, and they're like, okay, let's shake it up and see if they fight.
Yeah. That's I wonder if and I'd say somebody has, but that's an interesting thought, because I mean, there's a lot of, well, about all this, but there's a lot of talk about how some of the Native Americans, where they came from exactly, and thinking about them being descendants of Genghis, that people that led to Genghis Khan over there and led to, I mean, maybe that's got something to do.
They're directly.
Yeah.
That's their people.
I think that makes a lot of sense when you think about that, and horses and how they adapted.
And they weren't, when they left, nobody was riding horses yet. But it followed shortly. For the Mongolians, it followed shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
For the natives, it had to be
North America.
Yeah, it was like there were horses here when they got here, but they ate them. They didn't. They weren't for looking through. They were for eating, not for looking through.
Yeah. Oh, hummingbirds.
They were soon extinct, though. In North America.
Yeah. Were they? Then they were smaller, weren't they?
There were different species of horses. They were.
Yeah. Okay.
Some of them might have looked like zebras. They were just.
You just got buzzed. Brenda just got buzzed.
Excuse me.
Oh, that one was fighting a bug. You see that?
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Another bird. There was a bug. I don't know if it was a big
wasp and a hummingbird going at it.
The hummingbird was dueling with it there, looked
like those big tarantula hawks. I mean, we had them in the desert that were like this big and big as your finger, and they killed tarantulas for fun and a living. And
that's saying something.
You land on its back and sting it to death, or sting it till it's incapacitated, and then you lay your eggs inside it, and you walk away.
Yep, leave them on their own. There that critter is again.
And they're big and black and got bright, screaming orange wings.
How big are they? That big?
They're like this long.
Huh.
And when you see something that color in the desert, it's like
it's usually bad.
Stay away from it.
Stay away from it, yeah.
Gila monsters, Pepsis wasps, coral snakes. Stay away.
Yep, stay away.
And we have them up here too, but they're smaller than the ones we had in Arizona and New Mexico.
And you don't have tarantulas up there, do you?
Here,
Yeah. Do you have any in there in the desert
no,
country?
we've got. Good morning, everybody. We got folks coming in.
Hey, Michelle, welcome in. Good morning. Good to see you.
We have scorpions,
Yeah.
but they're only little ones. But they're not like the deadly little ones.
I wonder if they're like the little ones we have.
They're just like like the little ones you probably had in Nashville.
Yeah, I don't know if
They're
we have
just
them
like
any here,
they're
but we
like
had
a
them there.
little kind of pretty mild
Yeah.
little scorpion. They're not like the bark scorpions in Arizona or something that are deadly. So we had a great big scorpion in Arizona called a desert hairy scorpion.
Uh-huh.
He got about that long, and I mean they were impressive looking.
So they really were dangerous.
Big claws on them. Totally, unless you were allergic to the venom, totally harmless.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it hurt like shit when you got stung by them, but their venom was like not harmful. And then we had a little tiny one about that long that was kind of amber colored and see through that they called a bark scorpion. And that's usually where you found them, was under the bark of trees, like on a dying tree.
Yeah.
And one of those little suckers nailed me one day, and my lips immediately went numb.
Where did it sting you at?
My hands were tingling, and on the hand, both my hands started tingling. I was like sweating, and and I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? And everybody's just like, we're gonna sit here for a while and just calm down. It'll be all right. And I did that. And they're like, that's a bad one, dude. You get like you can't be messing with that one very often. So, and then there was when you went south of Arizona into Sonora, they have a little black one about that long, and it'll just kill you dead.
Oh, wow.
It's like, oh, cool. I'm like sleeping in my bed, and a little black scorpion comes in and stings me. I roll over on it or whatever, It's like
Lights out.
bugs is bad sometimes.
Sometimes. Sometimes. Yeah, that sounds kind of scary. I mean,
Bullet ants.
that sounds kind of
You
like
could
the
go
story.
down to the Amazon and get into. You could go to the Amazon and get into the bullet ants, which they say are and people have tested this on themselves. It's the most painful sting in the animal kingdom. And I'm like, well, you haven't been stung by enough things. I'm sure it hurts.
I'm sure.
See what a box jelly feels like. Those are, I guess, just awful. But you only find them in Australia. I don't know how we got on this subject. I'm stopping talking now.
Desert. I don't know either. How did we get on scorpions? I don't remember. Doesn't matter.
Tarantulas.
Tarantulas, I guess. Yeah. Brenda says squirrel.
Oh, you had a bug fighting a hummingbird.
Oh yeah, fighting a hummingbird. That's how we got there. Yeah, there had to be something.
We ran on the squirrel hard this time, or I did.
No, that's good to know. That's good info. What?
Hey, girl. All right. Hi, buddy.
Today?
Good, buddy. Look at all the good dogs. Benito, come here. 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 Oh, you never liked this. Just relax.
While you're doing that, I think I'm
I
gonna turn
can't pick that dog up anymore, hardly.
that Boudreaux.
No, it was Penny.
Well, that's too bad.
She's about 40 pounds, maybe 35. But when you try to pick her up, she just like goes totally limp, kind of like, no, you're not picking me up. Like you're not. I'm not getting up there. Sorry.
Kind of like a cat. I swear to God,
I don't want to be on TV.
I've had cats that I swear to God mastered gravity. If you want to pick them up, they can be walking by you or something, and you start to pick them up, and they'll just like drop to the ground or drop to the floor, and then you can't get them. I mean, that's it.
That's kind of what she does. She just like she always hunches down the back end, and then as I'm trying to pick her up, I can't get the angle right, and she just like it's like her backside stuck to the floor.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'll hurt her if I actually physically pick
Right.
her.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like you have to pull her, separate her from the floor, and something's going to tear or rip, I think we had Mouse.
Boudreaux's easier because he's got a collar. So if he fights me, I can just grab him by the collar and pick him up by that. But Penny, we can't keep a collar on that silly red dog to save our life.
She just slides out of them.
Well, no, they get to playing so hard. And they used the collar, both of them. I think I posted a video one time of Penny taking Boudreaux down, and she just grabs him by his collar and flips him. And it's like the greatest wrestling move ever. And but he tries to do the same thing to her.
Yeah.
And he gets her collars off. So
I got you.
Caitlin just found one in the pasture the other day, so I have a collar I could put back on her. But anyway,
so Penny has developed this amazing move to flip Boudreaux, and Boudreaux hasn't figured out a way to counter it yet.
He can't do the flip thing because she's taller than he is.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
But she just reaches over and grabs him by the top of his collar and then doesn't go the way I would think she would go. She always steps over him and just flips him, and he's on his back. And it's like, this is cool.
Brenda said Boudreaux can't help it if he's got short legs.
He can't. Not at all.
Penny's probably about to step over him now.
The alfalfa, oh yeah, she can walk right over him. And they're in there wrestling right now.
I heard There, look at that.
They love each other, those two dogs.
Well, they kind of grew up together.
They have, yeah.
I don't know how much age
He's
difference.
younger than
I guess
he
Penny's
is
a little
by
younger.
about 6 months.
Yeah.
But they have a good time together. And then when Sam comes and he brings Crockett, the whatever the heck he is, Corgi. He's a cowboy Corgi. He's a Corgi healer mix. And he's the same he's the same height as Boudreaux.
But he's shorter.
He's bigger in body mass.
Oh, really?
But he's the same height exactly as Boudreaux.
Wow.
Little bitty stumpy legs. And Penny and Crockett are definitely they're star-crossed lovers. and they when he's here, those three get together, and it's just like, what was that?
Do what?
What was that flying in front of your face?
Oh, I don't know. I was talking to Brenda. I'm not sure.
Looked like
maybe
a sphinx
she
moth.
did something.
Looked like a sphinx moth.
No, it was it was Brenda doing something. She went inside for some reason, or back inside. I don't know if something was eating on her out here, or she been sitting over here.
Mountain Dave. Space Mountain Dave's on.
Hey, Dave, welcome in. Space Mountain Dave Contrail is with us. What's the weather like in Florida, Dave? I hadn't got weather forecast from everybody. Is it raining? I
bet it's hot and humid.
I bet it is too. I think it's been raining a fair bit down there the last few days.
And still hot and humid.
Yeah.
Cloudy,
very humid,
but warm.
Cloudy but warm. Yeah, what do you call warm, Dave? Florida warm?
It'd be like Africa hot to us.
Probably. Especially to you guys. The lawn mowing may be about to begin. We had no, not mine. I see a lawnmower going up the road, the neighbors. Honestly, nobody's mowing right now. Our grass is back to we've been mostly dry. We've had some rain, but it's been pretty dry. And our grass and it's coming up on fall. Our grass has really slowed down. It's not growing much. In fact, and it was getting kind of yellow last week. It's green back up a little bit because we have had a little bit of rain. But we hadn't mowed in 3 weeks. And I don't know. I mean, it could go.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom and get ready to.
Okay.
I could almost see it going the rest of the year and not needing mowing, but it depends. It'll probably have to. It'll probably rain a little bit more, and it'll be warm enough. It's fescue of some sort mostly. It's cool weather grass, but I don't see it doing much more this year.
Is it brown and yellow in places?
It was,
but it's kind of come out of that.
Do what?
It's kind of come out of that.
Yeah, it's come out of that a little bit again. I mean, I was just looking. The front yard had spots in it, pretty big patches that were brown and yellow turning, but now it's green. It looks like it's green back up some. It still hadn't grown much. We got a lot of, I think it's called Dallas grass, DALL or DALIS.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's some kind of a cultivar. Brenda Phillips told him what it was because he used to work at a golf course, and he had to study, turf grasses a lot.
Yeah.
And he said that's called Dallas, and I haven't looked it up to see where it came from, but it's got the grass itself's not that high, but it always produces this long stem. It almost looks like oats or something, and it's seeding out right now. So, but that's the tallest thing in the yard. The rest of it's still pretty short.
Dallas grass.
Yeah, I've never looked that up. I'm sure it's some kind of whole man-made something they either put on golf courses or don't like on golf courses. I don't know.
Some cross between cheatgrass and Bermuda grass.
Is that what it says?
No.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not looking at all. Or I haven't looked. I will.
I'm going to look while we're talking.
To it. Caitlin's probably typing it in right now.
Here's Dallas grass. It's get rid of your Dallas grass with Dallas grass killer. Oh boy.
Get rid of your Dallas grass. So that says it's not something that's desirable.
What's the UCIPM? Dallas grass is a weed in turf grass, wet roadside areas, irrigation, ditch banks, orchards, vineyards, and ornamental landscape areas. And there's all kinds of talk in here about how to get rid of it.
Yeah, so it ain't good. It ain't good for nothing.
Well, I don't know. Here's something about common Dallas grass is widely used for grazing and hay production from Texas to North Carolina. So it is good for something. It's just not good for if you want trying to have a golf course or something.
Right.
It's best adapted to heavier textured soils in areas with at least 37 inches of annual rainfall. So you don't see it up your way. And it grows along streams and ditches. Well, I'll tell you right now, it's growing along my
We
yard.
vary between 7.5 and 12.5 inches of annual moisture.
That counts snow and everything, doesn't it?
That's everything.
Yeah.
That's the annual.
Yeah, well, that's see, that's
We
a little
live
bit
in a
lower.
we live in a desert officially. It's
Hey,
cold.
there's Carkey. Welcome in, Carol. Yeah, I think John's actually left Carol, but he was going.
There's Carol.
Yeah, she's come in. I didn't even see her. We were talking about you a while ago. Were your ears burning? Well, we were just talking about the fact that you weren't here, but and how much you were missed. John
I've seen her in the last couple.
Do what?
She's been gone for a while, hadn't she?
Well, she was been hit or miss a little bit.
They never heard Comanche.
She was, or I was going to say, John had to leave for the funeral. Carol, he was here, and then he was getting ready to go, and so he's probably not. He'll probably see it maybe later, but I talked to him. I called him the other day just to see how he was doing.
Are they burying him today? Do you know, Tim?
I think so, yes. But I'm not positive, but I think so. I talked to John on the phone the other day, and they were he was doing pretty good. He sounded pretty good. He sounded up. He didn't sound real down, and but it was kind of a strange thing. I asked him. I mean, he offered it first because I didn't want to ask too sensitive a question. But he brought it up, and he said his dad seemed to be doing good. Because he talks to him all the time, and he said while he was up in when John was in New York or Boston on that get together, whatever it was he went to, former postal workers meeting or whatever, playing golf. He said his dad called him, and he was going to go in for a biopsy, a bone marrow biopsy. And apparently that wasn't originally scheduled because he was talking to John about whether he could come down and be with him. So, and John couldn't get down there quick enough because it was like that day they were going to do it. And so somebody else was with him. And I don't know how many siblings John's got. I know he's got the brother over the mountain here. Maybe that's it. And so they did the biopsy, and that went okay. And he said then his dad was like, well, he said, I'm not sure. He said, seems like it went okay. And I'm guessing they hadn't heard anything because what got him was a very aggressive myeloma, which is the thing they keep checking me for. And apparently it had whatever it attacks, it was really aggressive, and he was like stage 4 within a couple of weeks. And so he didn't last very long once they found out what was going on. It was oops. So you guys can't tell that. Well, my camera's not, I'm not using that camera. A while ago, my other camera wouldn't work. No wonder it was making a black line on my screen. I'm having a glare issue now. I may have to. I got to move something around a little bit. Anyway, I was just telling that within 2 weeks after they diagnosed that, I think he was gone. So
You know how old he
I
was,
guess in one way it was quick. So
Tim?
do I have his
How old
address,
he-
Michelle? I don't know. I'll have to look and see if I have. And if I do, I will send it to you. I'm glad you talked to John. I've been thinking. Yeah, I called him. I decided that he and I talk every once in a while on the phone, and he was telling me he'd been talking to his brother. He said I'm going to come out there and visit, and he was going to come and visit me too, and then go over the mountain and visit his brother, and then I think one of the reasons why the funeral might be today was waiting on his brother to get up there. I think, or over there. I say up there. I'm assuming he was buried in somewhere in New Jersey, since that's where they were from. But his dad was not living up there that I'm aware of. He'd been in St. Augustine, I believe. But
in
yeah,
Florida?
I'll see if I can. Yeah, I'm pretty
Am I
sure.
muted?
Huh?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Um,
So how old was his father, Tim?
I'm not sure if he told me or not.
Because
But
he's
John is.
between your age and my age in age.
Yeah,
John
John
is.
just turned 65, so he's 2 years younger than I am. So his dad, I'm going to guess his dad was around somewhere between 80 and 90, probably
Yeah.
closer to 90. Welcome back, Dave. I don't know if you've been here the whole time or not. Wasn't sure if you might have had a trip planned today or something. But anyway, like I said, when I talked to him, he seemed to be doing pretty good. I think I talked to him on, I don't know when we found out about it. Was it last weekend when we found out?
It was
Was it Saturday
it,
morning we
it
found
was the
out?
same that no, it was in the middle of the week.
Okay.
It was the same day you asked me if I'd heard.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever day that
And
was.
I called you immediately. And I had heard.
Yeah.
John had sent me a deal.
Oh, that's why it came out on Facebook.
Yeah,
Or he
John had
sent a
sent me a
message. Yeah,
deal, and then I called you, and you were on the horn with John at the time.
that's correct.
And that was like Wednesday, maybe.
So, like I said, they were waiting on his brother, and then I think things were happening today. So I'm assuming he was buried or whatever they did in New Jersey, because that's where he was from. Maybe they scattered him in the piney woods.
I hope so. Or out in the salt marsh.
Yeah, I don't know what
He
I mean.
was
I
a
don't know what.
sailor, so that's where he belonged
Oh yeah, that's right. He was in the Navy, wasn't he?
for a long time.
Yeah.
He might have retired. I think he probably retired from the Navy.
I'm thinking he probably missed World War II, because he'd be about Dad's age, I'm thinking, and but he might have been in during Korea and
He was
Vietnam.
in Korea and Vietnam
Yeah,
for
that's what
definite, and probably the first Gulf War, maybe. He had hash
yeah, I
marks.
think he was.
He had hash marks that went all the way up to his elbow.
Yeah, he was there a long
He
time.
was in there a long time. I think he was a senior chief.
Wow.
Anyway,
Okay. So, but I'll get that, Michelle, and I'll post that on the Saturday morning, uh, or I'll send it to you, text it to you. I'll ask him. Well, you know what? I may have it handy. Let me look. If I do, I'll send it via text or whatever. I won't just throw it out there on the World Wide Web for everybody. But I do have it. I know I do, because we exchanged Christmas cards a couple times. But I can't remember where I put it. Oh, there it is. I used to get I used to get something from John, and maybe it was when he and I would call and the phone would ring. It would come up as a different name. It was like Rose something or something Rose. And I thought, is that John's nickname? And it was his wife's name, and the phone, I guess, was in her name. And it was coming up as her name. And he said, "Oh, no." He said, "That's my wife." I said, "Okay." And I said, "I was trying to figure that out." I was just making sure I haven't told a fib here, but I'm pretty sure I've got it. Yeah. Here, yeah, there it is. I do have it. Oh, and very appropriately, oh, where'd it go? I messed it up. Crow's Nest Road. Crow's Nest. Sailor. Think about that for a minute. How or at least for his dad anyway. Crow's Nest Road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because John was a Zoomy.
Yeah, he was a Zoomy, yeah. I wonder if that's why he was Air Force. He didn't want to go in the Navy because his dad had been there all his life. Could be. He might not have wanted to be told everything about the Navy. That happens. Fathers and sons. They don't always go together.
But mine was only going to be one branch. There was only one branch.
Well, that's true.
But they're just different.
Yeah. And
Just different.
And if you've ever been around Marines and you've been around squids or Navy guys, they have this inner.
They say they're in the Naval Department and they represent the men's department.
I've heard a lot of. I don't know if I've heard that one, but I've heard about that.
And yeah,
Somebody
that inter-service rivalry is a real deal.
Oh, it is a real deal. Yes,
but every doc in the Marine Corps is a Navy corpsman. They go to war with them.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I knew that or not.
There's no medical staff in the Marine Corps at all.
You know what? I just read a story this week about a guy who was up in Vietnam and had been awarded. I don't know if he got the Purple Heart or not the Purple Heart. I don't know if he got the Congressional, but he got some kind of a Silver Star or something. And he was Navy corpsman.
Yeah, he got the DSC.
And he had
or
been
the
over
Navy
there and was a corpsman with the Marine, working with the Marines. And that didn't dawn on me at the time, but he was naval or Navy. And his sergeant or captain or whoever was above him, he was getting ready to transfer out. His hitch was over and he was done. And the for lack of a better word, his boss, whatever, came to him and said, "Would you consider staying?
I need you to stay." I watched the same deal.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I need you to stay.
Yeah, and he stayed.
We're short on corpsmen. I need you to stay.
Yeah,
and he
what
did.
was that?
Huh?
What was that on?
The YouTube or whatever.
I think it was something
Maybe it was on. Maybe it was
too.
on to my face. I don't know. Could have been a deal on there too. I don't
now, don't be late for soccer. Although that's not a real game, that's made up.
That's what them commies play.
And they play it. They just play it with their feet, and it's kind of funny.
And they call it football.
And they call it football, yeah. And some of them call it footy ball. That might be more. There went something right by.
I saw some kind of multiple creatures just went by your face.
They just went right through here. I felt the wind off that.
There was at least two of them.
Yeah. one chasing the other one.
Were they hummingbirds?
Yeah, they were.
Just about did a drive-by on you there.
They did.
Flyby.
Hummingbird, if it was to get missed, hit you in the head, it might stick like a boing, like on a cartoon. Drive that bill about halfway through your skull.
Tower, this is Maverick requesting flyby.
Yeah, flyby denied. That didn't stop them.
That guy.
Anyhow, get on my face. Yeah, my face. Carol, that's we're not. I'm not even going to try to change it because now I call it that half the time. So
that's
it's stuck. It's already stuck.
That's why I started calling it that 20 years ago.
That's
I'm
like
I don't even have my face, and they're like, "What the heck are you talking about?"
what's my face? It's a little bit like Radar on MASH. You know, I believe it was the episode where Hawkeye was sleepwalking, and he was playing basketball or marbles or something with his buddies when he was a kid, and he called Radar Stinky. And Radar said, after a couple of times, Radar said, "Sir, I really wish you wouldn't call me that." And of course, Hawkeye was asleep. He was walking in his sleep. He didn't know anyway. And he said, and Radar said, "That's kind of nickname that kind of stick with a fella. I'd really rather that didn't
happen." Well, I was going to call. I tried to call you yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Because I did, and I was going to tell you that I had just seen the Morrison sisters with their flower building machine out in their Quonset hut, and I knew you'd know exactly who I was talking about.
The flower machine.
The special flowers grow out in that building. I could use me some special flowers to take to my teacher.
Yeah, he needed to.
Because nice ladies don't need them, but bad boys do.
That's a classic, man. Just in case you don't know, that's from Andy Griffith.
Season 1.
Yeah, season 1. The flower making machine. Oh my goodness.
And it's a great big copper pot. Yeah. And it's got a big spout, and it's got this twisty, windy elephant trunk looking thing that goes into another pot.
Yeah. And Andy's saying, "Oh yeah.
That sounds like a still."
Oh, and of course Barney wanted to take his axe to it.
Pow, pow, pow.
Pow, pow, pow. Here's a question for you. Speaking of a squirrel, Phil and I were talking yesterday. You know, when you were a kid, if you played Army or Cowboys and Indians, you know, you had a sound for a gun. Or bang bang or pow pow. Or now we do pew pew pew, I guess. But we were talking about that because there was a guy we worked with in Nashville. He was from North Carolina, and anytime he talked about hunting or something, and he fired his gun, you know, imagine it was like "Meow." He always made that kind of a noise.
Meow.
Meow. He's the only person I ever heard say that. Charlie Dickerson. He also, but every once in a while he would change it up a little bit because he'd go, "Toom." That was his other favorite. I don't know if that meant a bigger gun or what. Toom.
shooting a shotgun over a rifle.
Maybe that's what it was. One was a rifle, one was a shotgun. Yeah. Because Phil said that yesterday, and I started laughing. He said, Charlie Dickerson's the only guy I ever heard say that. And I said, I think you're absolutely right. He was quite the character, Charlie.
Peow.
He'd go home to North Carolina and visit. Oh, well, yeah, that's a whole nother story. Charlie was married, I don't know how many times. And 2 or 3 of them were to the same gal. He'd go home, and just about every time he came home from North Carolina, he brought a bottle of moonshine. His daddy was, I guess, like the mayor of the county or something, and they'd get it from the sheriff. They had a supply through the sheriff. I thought, yeah, that sounds like North Carolina.
My fisheries professor from Arkansas, Red Tatum, Buford Red Tatum.
Buford, yeah, the guy that worked on the Cherokee bass, right?
Yeah, he had friends in North Carolina, and he always went over there. And he'd come back with 2 wide mouth gallon jars.
Oh my!
And I don't know who he was getting it from, but it might have been confiscated liquor too.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't get me wrong. The sheriff was he was
like Rooster Cogburn liquored.
What you call
Rooster Cogburn liquor.
Oh yeah.
Gone is the liquor so seized in evidence.
Yeah, there's a fair bit of that gets captured in this part of the world and gets redistributed in a different fashion. Or from different people anyway. Or used to be that way. I'm sure it still is.
Sure it's still.
I mean, I'd almost be willing to bet you that if I could swing a rope big enough right around this county, I could probably get a couple of steals. I bet.
Well, of all the evils in the world, it's the lesser of 2 evils.
What? Let me see something here. I've lost there it is.
Don't you know in the naval service we always choose the lesser of 2 evils?
Say that again.
I said, don't you know in the naval service we always choose the lesser of 2 evils?
There's more to that.
Yeah, no, that was a quote from Master Commander.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And Aubrey was asking the doc, like, which one of these 2 weevils would you select? And he's like, I would select that one because it's got the advantage both in girth and in length. And they're crawling across the bread.
Right.
And Aubrey's like, don't you know in the naval service we always choose the lesser of 2 evils?
I do remember that.
And then he said something about punning. He who would pun something. I can't remember that quote, but
that's a good movie, but I hadn't seen it near enough to remember things. Oh, speaking of that, that's another thing I wanted to mention about Quanah Parker before I forget. He was in a movie. He was in a silent movie that was produced in 1908 called The Bank Robbery.
Really?
And you can see that movie. You're supposed to be able to see it in its entirety on Facebook. Now, not Facebook, YouTube. Last night I looked it up and I found a clip from it, but I didn't see. And it says there's a couple of scenes in the movie where Quanah Parker rides across the screen or is in the picture, and I think he's one of the. I almost want to say he's one. There's like a group of men that rob a bank, and then there's a bunch of guys that go after them. You know, and they were kind of, and this is 1908, so these are cowboys most people never heard of. And they were going to go after him, and Quanah Parker was either in that group, as part of that group, or I believe he was. I don't think he was one of the bank robbers. And supposedly there's a version of it out there where you can get some of the text. You know, they always put the text at the bottom or popped it up on the screen. The one I saw that I was watching last night, and it's weird, sit there on YouTube and watch a video with no sound. Because you don't, I mean, you kind of see what's going on, but there was no explanation. And I never did see Quanah, but I didn't see the whole thing. I stopped because I had to come in the house. It was getting late. And, or no, actually, Brenda said dinner was ready. That's what it was. Oh my God, was it good too? Anyway, he's in that movie. So look up the bank robbery, and it's 1908, and it's on YouTube. And I think there was a couple of different people that put it on, and but I thought, well, that's interesting. I think I got that off the Texas history webpage or something. There was one that there was a couple of different pages that had 3 or 4 page articles, or what would have been, about Quanah, his life history. What?
He was hanging there just listening.
Oh, and it was, they listed that down towards the end as something else he had done in his lifetime. That, you know, that was one I didn't expect, but he was in it.
Cool.
I don't think, now he never rode with like Wild Bill or anything, Buffalo Bill or anything, did he? I didn't think.
Not that I know of.
Yeah, I don't think he did. But like I said, you know, he went to Washington, was in that parade. He was in at Adobe Walls. I mean, there were some pretty famous things that happened that he was involved in that I didn't realize until yesterday. You probably knew. I mean, you knew him, but I was learning, and I thought, wow, this guy's pretty. He's interesting. I mean,
Very interesting.
I got to read more about him. I'm gonna.
A guy that was like, okay, the way I grew up in my whole life, you know, that's gone.
Yeah.
And how do I fit into the new life, and how do I be successful? That was
right.
I mean, like a leadership standpoint, I mean, the dude was amazing.
Yeah, he
brought his people. Smart. He kept his people together and did good things.
Right. And he was obviously very smart.
Very.
I mean,
Did I tell you that my woolly adelgid got accepted?
Not a woolly adelgid. Your big mouth got somebody.
My woody underwing.
Woody underwing, yeah. Okay, before we go, and it's getting close to quitting time here, but to explain this, if you guys didn't see, Mark posted a picture, I think, on my face the other day, of a big moth that he had found in his house. It was called a woody underwing, and it was a pretty neat moth. And he found out that it was the furthest west one had ever been seen, right? And there, or at least western Wyoming.
So I looked at a range map, and it had only been seen as far west as South Dakota.
Yeah.
Eastern South Dakota.
Eastern South Dakota, yeah.
And now I look at the range map, and it's been seen all the way across Canada, all the way over to Vancouver, but not in the U.S.
So I didn't notice that. So there was a gap.
There's a whole line of them that go all the way across Canada, literally. And then in the U.S., they went to eastern South Dakota, and I submitted my record. And so in the U.S., I have the westernmost record now, but there's 4 other Wyoming observations that are in there now as well.
Oh, so somebody else has seen them too.
Correct.
That's interesting. Now it makes sense, though, or part of it maybe. If they were all the way across in Canada, then that's probably how they got pushed down to you guys.
Don't know.
Well, I mean, it makes more sense than them being blown west from east. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got,
You're echoing in the hall.
this is on the, what is the website called? Butterflies and Moths of North America.
That's the range map you're looking at.
Well, and you ain't going to be able to get in there unless you join.
Oh, okay.
They're going to say, hold on, why are you messing about in here?
Yeah, because they don't like people just throwing stuff in there without it being documented or whatever.
Well, or just like getting in there and poking fun or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I have a record of sorts here, and it's been, geez, I don't remember what year it was, but I found 2 over on North Lake one summer. Towards the end, it was probably about this time of year, actually, maybe in August still. My buddy Dave Harrell and I were out in a boat doing some shoreline inspections or checking on something, and we were way up the lake, this way now from where I am today, on this end, the eastern end of the lake, northeastern, and I saw these birds on the water, and I thought, what in the heck is that? So I started looking at them. Dave was watching something else, and I started observing these critters through my binoculars, and we were able to float in pretty close to them, so I got some good ID marks. And I looked it up and checked it out, and it turned out that it was the western grebe.
Oh, cool.
And they'd only been seen in Tennessee a couple of times, and I'm not sure they'd ever been seen this far east in Tennessee.
That's cool.
So I thought that was pretty cool. So I got, at least in the 10 bird list, I got credit for an observation. I don't know if it ever got listed anywhere else or not, but it was definitely on a couple of marks, for that sighting. I thought it's pretty, because that's the only really unusual bird I ever found. So.
Well, I had somebody send me a photo one time. Actually, 2 times I've been involved in. When I was working in Arizona, one of my former coworkers, who was actually my supervisor from Wyoming, sent me a photo, and he's like, "What is this?" He's like, "We picked it up out at Medicine Bow, Wyoming, in the middle of the sagebrush, and it was dead. A rancher had reported it, and it was a shearwater, one of the tube nose.
Really?
Yeah, and it was way lost. I mean,
oh, that's cool.
But it probably just like, I'm tired, I gotta land, and landed in the sagebrush, and that was it.
They couldn't get up.
Yeah, because he
Yeah,
needed water to take off. But then another friend, when I'd come back to Wyoming, another friend had sent me a picture, and he goes, "We have no idea what this bird is. It's in Casper, Wyoming right now, and we have no idea what it is." And I looked at it, and I'm like, "Well, that's a woodcock." And that's exactly what it was. And so it was like, it may be the only woodcock ever recorded in the entire state. But
I wouldn't doubt that.
Just weird things happen occasionally. And, I don't have the records for either one of those. I got credited with an assist.
You see that hummingbird speaking and right by.
Just went right by your face. Like,
that would come right by my face. Carol, just so if you want to want to see something cool.
You need to put a red hat on, dude.
Yeah, they might
Seriously.
land on it.
If you had a red hat on, they'd be like buzzing right at your head.
I've got a red hat, and it's out in the library. I just thought of it from Indianapolis. Carol, the grebe I found is one of the species that the first place I ever saw a western grebe, and I'm not sure if it was just a west. I know there's a couple different western species, but was in the one of the early wildlife documentaries that was done by Walt Disney or by people that Walt Disney was financing, sent out, helped them. And it was about shorebirds, which I thought was really cool because I didn't realize later on, that was kind of a cool deal. And but grebes like this are the kind that get up and kind of dance across the water when they're in mating ritual. They are so cool. It's like they stand up and literally run across the water.
Both of them stand up.
Yeah, both of them stand
and do
up.
that together.
And it is so cool. And this was that. So look that up if you ever want to see something really cool. Look up wood or western grebes or grebe mating, because we have a pied-bill grebe back here. It's just a small bird. It doesn't do any cool things like that. It's just kind of there.
Well, it sounds like a monkey.
Well, yeah, but
when it's calling.
But it don't get up big and run across the water. So they're really cool. And but that's
so we have two of them. We have western grebes and Clark's grebes.
Yeah, I knew there was another one out there.
Which look, I mean, you don't have to have them in your hand, but you need to look close at where the black is on their head to decide who's which. And they don't have any problem recognizing each other. But I mean, I've never seen like a western grebe and a Clark's grebe doing the dance together. It's always been, the same.
I blacked
Did you
it out.
Freeze up?
No, I hit the wrong button. I was trying to see if I could make it bigger. Yeah, but that's cool. When you work out like that, Carol, you do some every once in a while. You get to see something really cool that not many people get to see if they're even interested. But it might be a strange deer, or it might be a strange as in antlers, or it might be a really weird. Now, the other bird I saw that I was,
or the chupacabra you just saw like earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody don't see a chupacabra out,
just off their porch.
Yeah, just off the porch. And I had one run across the yard down
there.
I wish Mike was here. Yeah, but Brenda said Bigfoot was right behind her.
I think he's a believer.
Yeah, I think so. The other bird I saw that at the moment fascinated me because I wasn't sure what it was a ringneck. Let's see.
Ringneck duck?
Yes. Which looked sort of like a wood duck mandarin, or what's the one on the West Coast? It's so colorful.
They look like a skull with a bump on their head.
And this thing was in East Tennessee. And what we decided, because some other people went out and looked at it, I put it on the list. 10 bird list is monitored very heavily. And people, check things out.
Excuse me.
Some other people checked it out too, and we figured out that's what it was. I got some great pictures of it.
Got a nice ring around the bill.
Yeah.
And the one around its neck is pretty hard to see.
We figured out, I got real close to it. And we finally figured out what it was. And most everybody decided it was probably a release or an escapee because apparently you can get those for your barnyard duck if you want to, or buy them from people that sell exotic.
Seriously? Seriously?
Yeah, that's what I looked it up, and you can actually, or maybe not now.
They're one of 3 scaup species in the U.S. in North America.
Really?
So you got lesser scaup and greater scaup, and then ringneck ducks, which are a scaup, basically.
Hang on a minute.
Maybe that ain't what you saw.
Yeah, maybe that ain't what I saw.
Is it purple headed with like a white ring around the bill?
What's the duck
big
out
old
west?
wattle up on top of its head.
What's the duck out west? A mandarin duck, or what? What am I thinking?
Mandarins are over yonder across the pond.
But they get on, don't they get up in the north?
Occasionally on the northwest.
Well, this thing looked kind of like that, and a wood duck kind of together. So it might not just been a ringneck duck. It was something. It was really neat. It was a neat bird, but everybody, and I read up on them, and they had been. You could get them sold. People had them in their. You could buy one for your barn lot if you wanted.
Got it.
And then, but they were escapees, and you see them. In fact, I tell you, the next place I've seen them was at Disney World in Animal Kingdom in their zoological park, whatever you want to call it. I saw them down there. I saw a couple down there. So they may be on the East Coast or Florida. That might be more common, but it was the only one I've ever seen up here. And I got a little bit excited because it was such a rare bird here, but then turns out it's probably, everybody was like they turned their nose up at it. That probably came out of somebody's.
That's like seeing an English sparrow.
Yeah, kinda.
Excuse me, house sparrow.
I see some pretty strange things in kindergarten. You need to start reporting some of those, Carol, and
maybe. Have you ever had one of them come up to you and say, maybe it's a tumor?
Who did that?
And the reply is, it is not a tumor. Kindergarten cop, man.
Oh, okay.
I have a bad headache. Maybe it's a tumor.
Oh, my
One of the little kids said that.
Maybe I shouldn't have said you should report them, Carol. Maybe I should have said document. Maybe that's a better, because that report sounds bad. But anyway, guys, I'm going to call it a day.
It'd be like, what was the gal that Mom loved reading her books?
Beatrice something?
No, Irma Bombeck.
Oh, yes, Irma Bombeck. Your mom used to talk about her.
Didn't she have a book, Kids Say the Darndest Things, or something like that?
Yeah, she did. She did.
And they darn sure do.
And no filters.
There's none.
All right, guys, I'm gonna call it quit. My mouth's about so dry I can't talk, and I think I'm going to have to go recycle some coffee, which is probably TMI, but it's the truth. So the hummingbirds are gonna say good day. Wow, there's one hovering just right
And so
there.
are we.
And we're going to say it too, and you get feeling better, hopefully. So, see you guys, and have a great rest of your weekend. Bye, Mark. And Carol and whoever else is here, have a great weekend. And glad you got to come in. Glad you made it in. We missed you. So, but we'll see you again soon, and see everybody next week, I hope. Bye-bye.